Righty, welcome everyone. Today's show promises to be exciting, but before we go on to even talk about and introduce the guests, it's time for all of us to just let's admit, one time in our lives, before we became the Max Verstappens of Accra and whoever we think we are now, we made some very terrible mistakes. And also, let's all admit that driving in Ghana, it's comedy. You always would see something funny, or you would even do something funny. So I'll start first. I mean, when I started driving, oh boy, when I see the road signs, I'm going slow to just make sure I read it. It was always some kind of cryptic signage, like, what does this mean? I don't want to make a mistake. So tonight, send in your experiences. Let us have a good time. I promise not to reveal your names, so I won't let anybody know that, hey, you were once a rookie, you were once a driving hazard on the road. Welcome, everyone, and this is the show that you should be on. So tell a friend to tell a friend. The VROOM is on. Welcome back again. Today's show is titled License to Laugh. When they gave you the first driver's license, how was it for you? You know, what you learned in class, how did you find out that what you learned in class is totally different from what's on the road? Tonight we are joined by amazing guests, one that doesn't need any introduction. If you go on our Facebook right now, go to Asaase 99.5. You see the flyer displayed right now. Our guest for tonight is none other, the award-winning, Ghana's most celebrated comedian, Obi Amponsa, will be joining us soon to tell us all about his mistakes. We want to hear that comic side, of Obi. And also Miss Christabel Aintree, the lady driver who is killing it. But before she became the Verstappen of Accra, she was once a rookie. She was once a roadside hazard. So stick and stay. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. Whilst we wait to get into this juicy segment, today I want to share my beginners workshop series with you. And we're going to talk about the effects of flood water. Now the floods are here, and you would think, oh no, you know what, I've been seeing all these cars, like what they do in Dubai, the sun bashing. Let me also experience water bashing, because that guy in front of me did it anyway, so I can too. But you know what, the same way our heights differ, and where my nose is might be different from where that tall gentleman's nose is. That's the same way the intakes of the various vehicles, where your car breathes in, it differs. The positions differ. So just because you saw that other vehicle go through the water doesn't mean you can too. So please be mindful. And I'll tell you the effects of it before I tell you why you shouldn't do it at all. Now, the effects of it. One, you would lose control because you don't know what is underneath the water. You don't know how deep this water is. So you would lose control. Now, go onto Facebook and see what is going on our streets in Accra. This looks like Jolu. I might be wrong, but there are some cars that thought, hey, you know what, I can do it. No, it is deeper than you think. Now you lose control, as I mentioned. Already your tires have already lost contact with the road. So why do you even want to think of you being a boat? You will lose contact. That's number one. Number two, there's something called hydrostatic lock of an engine. Your engine, the combustion chamber, is meant to compress only air. Now imagine water goes through your nose and into your lungs, and then you cough and you choke. That is hydrostatic lock right there. So do not allow water to get into your engine, because the pistons cannot compress water. It is not made for that. What would happen is your piston and connecting rods would break. The connecting rods would break, and that will cost you a lot more than just sitting back, packing your car and waiting for the water to just pass. That's number 2. Number 3, you know that it can affect your electrical systems, your wiring. Sometimes when you're there and you take a bad drug and you see yourself twitching, you know, the nervous system is the electrical wires of a car. You see yourself twitching. You know, I was fine a minute ago, then suddenly I am twitching. It's because there's something that started in your body that you didn't consider that was a big deal, but it is a big deal. So yes, your electrical wirings will start more functioning. It might get into your ECU, it might get water gets into your fuse box, and with time, you know, water doesn't act immediately. It doesn't affect immediately. It corrodes with time. So the same way you don't want to be walking around and twitching like you've taken a bad drug, that is how you shouldn't be treating your cars at all. So make sure you stay out of the flood waters. Now, number 5, it damages the suspension parts. Again, I'm going to liken this example to the human body. So every joint in your body has a ligament and a squishy thing. So if it's shaking, between the 2 joints, there's this squishy part that you like to just eat and munch on. Those in the vehicle, it's either the bushings or the tie rod and the ball joints or the tie rod ends. These are the squishy things that helps all the hard parts to function well. So imagine if you don't take your pills. So for that reason, you get up and you hear crack, crack, crack all the time. So when you go through puddle of water, flood waters, it washes away the grease that these ball joints need, the grease that their suspension parts will need to keep being lubricated. And with time, you hear a lot of crack, crack, crack. I say, but then I just changed my ball joint. Why is it making so much noise? Hey, Kwame up here. Wait to see me. One top, Papa. But Solomon, you passed through water just the other day. So please do not do that. So these are your tips, the reason why you shouldn't go through flood water. But the most important one is the loss of control, because when you lose control, your car now becomes a boat, and you now move from being a driver in charge to being a passenger. And you all know what that means, right? So do not go through flood waters. That is it for your tip, your beginner auto workshop tip. Let us go back to the discussion. License to laugh. Let's go back to the discussion, shall we? Now, I want to hear from you. So send me a message on Facebook, on our numbers as well, which will be displayed. I want to hear your stories. Your very funny stories. There's this one thing that you did. You got to a runabout and somebody had to be honking behind you because you're not sure. Do I go in? Do I wait? Do I go in? Those moments. Don't add the one you knocked down an old lady on the La Paz highway. No, I don't want to know that one. I want to know the ones that you sit back and say, hey, you know, there are moments where you get back home and you just do the sign of the cross, like, man, I've gone through the valley of shadow of death indeed. Those are the moments I want to hear. So yes, Obi, I see Obi ready. Hello, Obi.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Very well. Fantastic seeing you on the show. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. I know you have a lot of stories to share. License to laugh. Now take us back. Take us back to when you first got your license. Or let's go back to when you were in the driving school. Did you ever go to driving school at all? Let's know.
Driving school. Okay, let me adjust my camera. I hear when you turn, the image is still the same.
So
really?
This is where you start laughing.
Let me try. Give me a minute. Let me try to adjust this thing because.
There you go. There you go.
You see, I should. This is a portrait, okay? But when I turn it, I don't know why, but I just seem upside down. It's so unfortunate.
Obi, were you turning your mirrors, your driving mirror this way whilst you were driving when you started driving?
my car didn't have that function. My first and ever car didn't have that function. But I'm so sorry. Let me try and adjust it. Maybe I'd have to hold the phone and then give me a minute, okay?
Okay, so
if that's okay with you.
Did you just hear that? His car didn't have a driving mirror. Oh my God, what a road hazard we've had in the past. Now I'm going to.
Oh no, it had a driving mirror. It didn't have the adjustment, the one that you could adjust from left and right. That's all I'm saying.
So whilst we wait for Obi to adjust, let's watch some videos. Please go on our Facebook page right now. Let's watch some funny videos and events happening on our road. Oh boy, that taxi. So I'll call left to, so I'll call right to. Oh, alignment in here is just off. And I see the front tires is even flat. Oh boy. How did he get, how is he even road worthy? How is he even allowed on our streets? Oh, did you see the video showing? Oh, this is a hazard. Can you all hear?
How do I look now, guys? Is it better now?
You're still not better. I mean, I think we can make do. It's still not better. Oh wow, the gentleman who thinks he doesn't need his hands, he thinks what his legs are enough. Yeah, Obi, this is good.
Yes.
Yes, this is good.
This is okay. Okay.
What? And these men having their lunch on top of cargo. And I'm sure they are breadwinners. They are breadwinners. Oh, Ghana. It's incredible how we all just go home. We survive all the things that happen on our roads. It's incredible how we go home in one piece, because if you are to consider all of this, I bet you wouldn't even want to sit in your car. So Obi, let me start with you. Share your experiences. Let's go back to your driving school days.
Yeah, first of all, I'm sorry for my camera stuff. I didn't go to driving school. For in Ghana, there's an unknown rule or an unspoken rule that if you go to the driving school, you're a woman. Like a guy doesn't go to the driving school.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is like an unspoken rule in Ghana.
Oh, wow.
I didn't go to the driving school. I found a taxi driver friend who actually taught me how to drive. Yeah, we went to the park one day and then did a few rounds, and that was it. So that's how driving school happened for me.
And let me guess, you bought petrol for him to let you drive for like a week, and you were just driving around the park. I don't think they still have those parks around, do they? I don't know what the is.
They still have it in the villages. In Accra, they've built a lot of lands and all of that. But in those, in the rural areas like Breku, where I used to stay, where I started learning to drive, they had that. They still have that. They still have that. The school park, the one that has the sand on it, no grass. Yeah. So that's where I started learning to drive. And from driving school. Well, from my own driving school, I bought my first car with from a lady, and also there's this saying that if you're going to buy a car, buy it from a lady, because women take care of things women are careful with stuff.
I agree.
And so
that I agree.
Yeah, you agree?
That I agree. Yes, that I agree.
Yeah, and so the first cargo was the Hyundai Elantra from a lovely lady who I actually did savings. So those days I had started doing some corporate shows. Okay. And so I'll do a show for maybe MTN. The money they pay me, I don't spend it. I just go and put it there. Any corporate money, I did for about 6 shows. And for each, I was charging about 5,000 cedis. So in the end, I bought the car for about 30,000 cedis, which was far below the price that the person wanted to sell. But she was a friend, so I got the first car. Let me tell you my first experience with the car. So I buy the car. I think I get it on Thursday, but those times I couldn't drive. So it was my friend who drove me to my house. And then on Friday, I didn't move the car because I didn't really want to get into the streets without the experience. And then on Saturday, I wanted to go to church. But I didn't want to go and pick the trotro because I just got my new car.
That's going to show off.
Yeah, so, and the church was just a few meters from me. So I actually drove to church, and then everybody was surprised. Hey, Obi, you have a new car. Obi, you have a new car. I parked my car, went to church. And this is where it got funny. After church, I went and boarded the trotro and then went home.
Why? I want to get that part. Why? Why didn't you just drive back home?
I totally forgot that I had a car, my dear. I totally forgot. Like
no, that's a good. That's a good
so
one.
I'm in the trotro, and then the mate starts taking the money, and then I'm putting my hand in my pocket. I feel my car key. I'm like, more car. Then everybody in the trotro started laughing at me. I had to tell the mate to stop. So I go back to church, and people are like, "Who your car?" I'm saying, "I first timer." That's like my first experience with like when I got my car. Yeah, but the thing with driving in Ghana is that you, apart from learning how to drive and obey the signs as well, I also realized driving in Ghana that you'd have to be sharp with your mouth too. Yeah.
Okay,
in
that's
Ghana,
new.
Yeah, you have to be sharp with your mouth. Like,
explain.
The horn is not enough. Sometimes you have to pull your head out and then shout at the person in front of you or the person beside you. Or sometimes you have to use your hand gestures. Yeah, that is one thing I realized in Ghana. You cannot drive without learning how to shout at somebody by the road, especially the trotro drivers. They will give you hell if they realize, especially when they realize you are a first time driver and you do not know the road. They will give you a lot of hard time.
So Obi, let me ask you: do you think having a sharp mouth and with your hand gestures is even more important than having your brakes intact?
Way important. Yo, I once saw a man doing a reverse at a roundabout. I'm not going to lie to you.
No,
he was reversing and he was coming backward. It took me taking out my head to shout, hey, what do make out? Every horn I honked the man, it didn't honk him. He didn't care.
You could have
this
gone
man
to the
almost
Obi, you could have gone into the other lane. You could have gone into the other lane. You didn't have
at the roundabout? It's just one roundabout. The guy is coming backwards. How do you do a backwards? How do you reverse at a roundabout? That is not understandable.
That's a classic one. That's classic.
Yeah.
That's classic. That is classic. So tell me, how did you find out the reality moving from that park with just sand to now moving to asphalt? When did it hit you that, hey, I am actually on the road? I want to hear those experiences. I'm actually on the road.
It was when I started driving the car, I decided not to put the L or the thing they put behind the car to show that I'm an inexperienced driver.
Hey,
because,
look at you.
Yeah, because once you put that there, Ghanaian drivers will maltreat you on the road. Yeah, when they realize you're a newbie, they will just maltreat you. So I decided not to put that there. Yeah, I decided to act like I am a good driver and I can find my way around. So I was driving from Kaswa to Ridge for a show. And first of all, I prayed to God. I prayed to God that take me. Yeah. First of all, God, take me safely to this place because when I got the car, I felt like I needed some time. And then the car was just sitting there. And then I was picking taxis and I was like, nah, after this time, I'm going to drive this car myself. So I drove from Kaswa to Ridge. And from Kaswa to Ridge, you use the Kaneshi Road. Oh goodness! Hey.
That's a jungle.
That is when you realize that people don't really care about you, especially when your car looks new, and then you are protecting it from scratches or from scratching somebody. Look, the moment you try to protect your car from scratching, that is when you will scratch somebody.
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
When you try to protect your car from, so at a point, I think somebody wanted. I was in my lane, but this driver wanted to cut in. But Ghanaian drivers don't show traffic
No,
indicator or whatever they call it.
They're just going like that.
Yeah, they show it with their hand.
All
They
right.
do this. They just give you a thumbs up. I'm like, bro, just. So I didn't see how the guy wanted to enter, but he came. He entered forcefully, and then he scratched me a bit.
Oh no.
That was my first scratching experience, and he didn't even stop to check, and I didn't even want to stop to. I didn't want to get into all of those incidences because in Ghana, when that thing happens, the case is not with you two anymore. Especially when the police comes in, the case is between the police and you two, and then it becomes a whole blown up case.
Yes.
So I was like, I was going to play a show. So I was like, station, because I didn't want to have any issues, and then I didn't want to be late for the show as well. The journey back, now I had seen how the drivers behave on the road, and so I had to be bold as well. I had to, how do they say, force my way, like force. You have to force your will on these drivers.
Yeah.
That's why it is good. Well, maybe I'll advocate it. It is good to learn from experienced drivers. Like a taxi driver will tell you that. I'm going to say this in Chi. Or say, "Pop, no sombra, nye usro ne car no begina." Yeah, so like that's what they say on the Ghanaian road. That like, he who fears his car will stop for the right person to go. Yeah, sometimes it works. Sometimes you meet people who are crazier than you. In fact, it looks like in Ghana, like I said before, you may follow all the rules, all right, but there are other rules that you need to have in mind. Yeah.
Yes. So would you say that yield to traffic, what we see at the runabouts and certain junctions, yield to traffic is only an opinion? It is not a rule, it's not a law, it's just an opinion.
No, I don't think it's a rule. Yield to traffic is not a rule in Ghana. You see, even the stop sign, look, it took traveling to the United States and a few other countries for me to realize that, the stop sign is really important.
It is. When you get to an intersection, you have to stop.
I'm telling you, I have no idea. Like in Ghana, it is not enforced.
No, you don't even see the lines.
Yeah, even the red light, but the stop sign is something that like was more of a cultural shock to me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, so this thing has an importance.
Yes.
That stop sign. Yeah, I didn't know, and in Ghana we did not really observe that. Yeah, that's one thing I've realized. We did not really observe, and also the zebra sign.
Yes.
Yeah. You would see people have this, like in other worlds or in other countries, like maybe the US, maybe UK. People have this entitlement when they are walking on the zebra line. They watch you like, okay, let's see what you do. Bruh. Like, in Ghana, I hear one guy ask the driver, who was zebra crossing, and the guy asked him, the way is zebra. So for us, our interpretation of some of these things are different. For us, how we understand some of these signs are totally different. Somebody will do a U-turn, and I tell you, like, you would wonder why the person did the U-turn on a one-way. Like, it's crazy how you drive in Ghana. But then it is because some of these laws are not enforced.
I agree with you.
I feel like if some of these laws were enforced and MTT, or whoever regulates these things would ensure some of these, the problem was solved. But then it's our country, we are a little bit relaxed on some of
wait
this.
till you see more of these culture shocks. So my culture shock when I was in Mauritius was you don't stay in the fast lane. Once you overtake, you go back to the inner lane and allow whoever wants to go faster than you to pass. And also, you don't honk. You don't honk. You just blink twice. Just blink twice. You don't honk. And I'm sure you've witnessed that too. Nobody's
That's
honking.
true. That's true. They don't honk.
They don't honk.
Like honking is very disrespectful.
What?
I have no idea.
But there's a
I don't
taxi
understand
driver.
why.
There's a taxi driver that or train to my o jolly bijina kwan ho. Then pop like from my kasi mko for church or journey many sika today. But that's when he decides to keep honking to let your girlfriend know that you don't have money.
Another thing I've realized on like the next cultural shock I've realized is that there are biker lanes.
Right.
There are lanes for bikers.
Right.
It blew my mind when I saw like I was going to that lane and we were like, no, that lane is for bikers. You don't go into that lane. I'm like,
what?
Wait, what? Like the Okada people have their lanes and what? So because in Ghana we have, I don't know whether it's how Okada people have branded themselves or whether people who ride motorbikes have branded themselves. But in a way, it seems like we do not respect them on these roads. And maybe it's because of how they also behave. But there's no respect. In fact, even when you go to some hospitals and you've had an accident, and then they ask you, accident, and you say, oh, a moto. Some hospitals do that.
Oh wow.
That's what they resort to. But when I saw the biker lane, I was like, wow, these people even have lanes for bikers and they are really respectful to them too. It's just amazing to see.
Something tells me the taxi driver who taught you how to drive is that same taxi driver that is teaching everybody in Ghana how to drive because we've all lost it. We have all lost it. But let me go back to you. You mentioned that you'd pray before you'd go on the road. Was there a particular gospel song you'd play? There must be one song that you'd always play, like Ebia Irade Jimene and then life is shown, sir. I want to know that song.
There was a time that I was driving with a friend. Those days I didn't have a car. And then the person, he was also inexperienced. But I've seen that music actually plays a role in driving.
It does.
Because the music he started playing was, I think, Stone Boy's song. If I die today, if I die today, I'm a hero. I was like, bro,
not today.
Just change the song. It is not today. Today, if you die, we are both not heroes yet. So yeah, but for me, when I'm driving, well, I trust that I drive properly. I trust that. So usually, for music, I go for, if it's a long trip.
Right.
If it's a long trip I go for podcasts.
Right.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm on the road because it keeps you active. Like it feels like somebody is having conversations with you.
Right.
It feels like you're having conversations with somebody else in the car. Yeah. In the mornings, just like any Ghanaian, if I'm driving early in the morning, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., it's usually, and I don't understand why we do that though, but it's usually gospel.
Yeah,
it's usually gospel. Yeah, at dawn, and then in the afternoon, you realize that, okay, let's give what belongs to Caesar to Caesar. So he put in some hip life and all of that. But yeah, I enjoy playing choral highlights. Right. Yeah, in the car, I enjoy playing choral highlights, and there are a lot of like very good choral groups in Ghana: Harmonious, One Voice, Seraphs. There are a lot of very good, and they have a plethora of compositions on Spotify. Right. And so when you kind of check them, they really have some really good songs too. Yeah. Or when I am driving on a road like the Teman Road. I don't know if they have repaired that road. The road that has a lot of potholes.
I believe the Boteman, the one that takes you Boteman.
No, there's one at Oyarifa Teman.
Oh, my right,
goodness,
no.
Don't go and drive there. Ha! like you'll be driving, you meet about 4 potholes.
Like Owari.
Yeah, Owari. And you have to decide. You have to decide that, okay, which one are we falling in? You have to decide which one is like less dense or like, and you know, Ghanaians, like these potholes can, like, we know where even the potholes are.
Yeah, we do. You have to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know because you can be surprised by a new pothole. You'll be driving like, hey, that is how.
Driving in Ghana is an Olympic sport. I'll tell you. Driving in Ghana,
oh, yeah.
It has to be studied all across universities in the world because I don't know how we're able to survive all of this. Go ahead.
So true. One of my other cultural shocks was when I was driving, and then I was using Google Maps.
Okay.
And then the Google map told me that in about 5 meters there's a pothole.
You don't say.
I'm telling you, my dear, I'm not lying about this. I'm like, is the map warning me about a pothole?
Wait,
my mind was blown.
Is it that your car has the features to detect and then you have to tell Google? What car were you driving?
Well, it was the Google map that told me.
But what car were you driving?
Sorry?
What car was it?
Okay, well, it was a Benz though.
It's not a Vitz. It's not a Vitz. My Vitz would tell me, watch out for potholes.
No, but if even it was a Benz in Ghana, and then the Benz decided to warn me about potholes in Ghana, it will get tired. I'm telling you. You'll be like, in about 5 meters, in about 10 meters, oh my God, my brother, there are potholes. Oh yeah.
Get off the road now.
The GPS will just be stressed out. I'm like, whoo, bro, just go. You know, there's a function in the car called cruise control.
Yes, there is. That's true.
I had never used that in Ghana before because you cannot cruise in Ghana.
Now, Ponchipi Crossover now and day.
How are you going to cruise on some of these roads? Because
Ponchipi Crossover, that is it all. You can't cruise on our roads. It's not allowed.
But it was in my car. My Xtra, it was in it. There was cruise there.
It's a basic function.
What I realized was that the cruise function works when, like, on a highway, you can drive about 4 hours without any interruption. You understand?
In Ghana?
You can set. Yeah, no, not in Ghana.
Okay.
Ghana. The pothole will stop your cruise. No. Sincerely, and I'm being honest here.
Okay.
It was driving in the United States that made me realize that the cruise function is for this purpose.
Yeah.
Earlier with my Xtra in Ghana, I thought it was for music. Like if you want to cruise, you play music or something. I had no idea how to use it.
Yeah.
And so when I started like driving in the States, then I realized that the cruise is for, like, if you do not want to step on the gas or you don't want to apply any brakes, but you want to go at a certain speed limit.
That's true.
Yes, and so you can just be on the steering wheel and then not be pressing. I had no idea. I had no idea. Sincerely, I had no idea you could like cruise like that.
Boy.
Yeah, and it felt so cool.
Oh boy! I mean, there's no way you can cruise in Labadi or highways. No, I won't because upon Chibi, if it's not a stray dog, then it's just someone who just gets out of the church and just decides to cross. You know, so yeah.
You can't even cruise on the Tema motorway, which is supposed to be cruisable. You can't cruise on Tema motorway because there are a lot of people crossing them.
No.
But it's supposed to be the motorway, or it's supposed to be the highway. I've realized that for places like maybe Dubai, UK, even South Africa. South Africa, you can drive from Johannesburg to Eswatini, and it's a big road. Like you can drive on it, and you are okay. Like there's no interruption and all of that. What we have is that we kind of put how do I say it? We kind of put settlements around these highways instead of instead of just having a pathway for cars, we kind of mix them with human settlements. And so usually you have that's why you have some of these accidents happening on the roads involving human beings or pedestrians who are crossing the road and all of that, because that is not supposed to happen.
Yeah,
it's not supposed to happen. So it's one of those things.
That's not supposed to. But I agree with you. But it would interest you to know that Ghana, we have a beautiful blueprint. The town and city authority has done fantastic with the zoning, but again, it comes down to enforcement. Enforcement.
Yeah.
But before,
and then you have people also defending. People will also say, "Hey, now go to be my man if you can't then obey and all of that."
And all of that.
You know. Now,
Obi, we're going to come back to you later, but we have in the studio Miss Christabel Aintree. Thank you for joining us. And before we get Christabel to say anything, can we please see the videos again? The one from Chronix GH and Kwame Fly. So wait, let's pause. I need to tell you viewers what this is. Pause. Just please pause it. So if you see the blue trotro. So when he steps on his accelerator, it doesn't accelerate, and you find out that the cable is loose. So he's asked his mates to go open the bonnet and sit in the engine bay and keep the until they get to the next destination. So that's what you see. The mates in the engine bay holding the accelerator cable. You tell me if this isn't the funniest country in the world. I mean, you can't be sad in Ghana. All you need is data. And then so this video is by Chronix GH, Chronix GH2 on TikTok. And then let's see the one by Kwame Fly. Kwame Fly sent us, this guy is feeling all fly. You know, he says, hey, you know what? Even though the manufacturer says I should use my hand, I choose to use my legs until he gets accident and they cut it off. So yes, thank you so much, Kwame Fly on Twitter, and thank you, Chronix GH2, for sending us these lovely videos. So, Christabel, before you joined us, we were talking about these videos and just how funny it is to drive. I started being funny. It is hazardous. It's a risk. When you go home, you almost have to always do the sign of the cross, because you have gone through the valley of the shadow of death. I mean, every day it's something else. But let's go back to when you first started driving and it hits you that, hey, Charlie, everything I learned in the driving school and what is going on is totally like day and night. So please share your experience with us.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm very grateful. Driving in Ghana, I don't even know.
That laugh, I know.
I don't even know where to start from, because my introduction to driving was in the UK. I was in the UK. I moved to Ghana 3.5 years ago. You know, and when I looked at the cost of like taking taxis all the time, it was a lot. And it became a bit alarming, because I would book taxis on these ride-hailing apps, and they'd be like, oh, madam, I know you, mefawaha. Oh, madam, I know you. I picked you from here. I was like, Hey. And it was crazy because, so I had a routine. Maybe I'll use app A for a bit, then I would stop using it for like a month or two, use the other app, and then come back just to have a rotation so that these drivers wouldn't be so familiar with me. But I think it was at that point I was like, nah, apart from it being comical, I didn't feel safe that, you know, these people or these drivers would know me, be familiar with me, and know where they pick me, because I don't go out much. Home, work, church, repeat. You know, so it was at that point I was like, no, I need to learn how to drive. So and it was funny because I never thought I would drive in Ghana. I never imagined that I would drive in Ghana, because even just being a passenger in the car is scary. You know, I can't even count the amount of times.
Next episode 7:15.
I can't even count the amount of times I'll be, hey, driver, to a boy, so driver, calm down, because, oh, madam, don't worry, you just sit down, relax, I'll take you to where you're going to. So anyway, so I found a driving school, signed up. I wanted to learn manual at the beginning, but all this clutch thing, it wasn't making sense to me. So then I just opted for, the automatic route, which was lovely. I mean, you just drive, park, reverse, and then you're just going. And it's been quite a challenge, because one thing about driving in Ghana is that you have to be very alert.
Right.
All your senses have to be active.
That I agree.
Even to the point where sometimes I don't put on the AC so I can at least roll the windows down to hear what's going on around me.
That's a good one.
Because you may think you are sane, but maybe the person driving next to you, behind you, in front of you, And when I was in driving school, the guy was like to me, imagine everybody on the road is mad.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I'm driving. So not only am I driving for myself, but I'm driving for the people around me, being a defensive driver. One culture shock I had was when I went to driving school, and like they show you the signs,
right,
the street signs. There was one about animals, like with cows. I was like, but then why is there? Until I was driving one time, and there were literally, I was like in the midst of cows. I wish I had that video to show you. I was like, I had cows on my left, cows on my right, and I was like, oh, okay, so do I blow the horn? Do I reverse? I just wait. So I was just there till they moved, And I remember I took a video of it and posted it on my Instagram story. My friends were like, what's going on? Like, what is that? Like,
farm.
Because I think we're used to the chicken and the odd goat, but having a whole herd of
farm
cows.
Yeah.
And the cheeky thing about it is, I guess the herdsmen know that people are mad at them when these things happen, so they don't accompany the animals. And I asked them, how do they know where they are going to? And then somebody was like, they know. I was like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. So it's just been a very comical situation, but also a very concerning situation because, I like an adranantie. Like I like to go out in the evenings because I go to work, so I'm able to go out in the evenings.
Right.
And even as I was coming here, street lights not on. It's dark. People will put on their highlight. Then the car behind you has their highlight on and it's reflecting in your side mirror. You can't even see anything. I feel like my eyesight has really gone through a lot ever since I started driving because the lights are so harsh.
Right.
And I think that, okay, if the street lights were to work, I don't think we would have to have our highlights on. Me personally, when I first started driving, I was like, I won't put on highlights. No. But I've joined them now because 9 out of 10 times I can't see what's going on the road. And I had this very unfortunate experience one time. I wasn't driving then because even though I could drive, it took me like 1 year to gain confidence to drive on the N1. The N1, because I normally go to like Medina, Spintex. So, I had to gain confidence to drive on the N1. But prior to that, there's actually an accident. One Wednesday evening, I was coming back from Wednesday service at church, and on the way back, on the N1, I think at Achimota overhead, there's like a church bus stop. Right there was a dead body in the middle of the road, blood everywhere. And it was a hit and run. The person was gone. There was blood everywhere. People were like in the road trying to flag down cars to, reduce their speed, to slow down.
How did it impact you?
Like,
how did you take it as a new driver on the road?
It was scary. Very, very traumatizing. Because like I said, even at that time, even though I was driving, I hadn't really built my confidence to drive on the N1 at that time. So, having to see that, it kind of, it put me off driving, it put me off driving because I was just like, hey, so what if something happens, sometimes no fault of your own, maybe something like the N1, maybe you can go 80 or something like that, and it's dark. And, I know for a fact that with my wardrobe, a lot of my clothes are black. Right. People are wearing dark clothes at night. It's dark. You can't see anything. And even when they are crossing, the pedestrians, they are very troublesome. Because where they are crossing isn't the safest, but they still cross there. So that was a whole lot, but I mean,
Christopher, I'm going to come back to you on this. We need to move on to our next segment. Now you know. Now you know. Now you know. So today's segment, I'm speaking to the newbies and those that go and borrow their friends' cars. Obi, I'm going to come to you on this one. Those that go and borrow their friends' cars only to get to the fuel station and they don't even know. They don't even know, is this petrol or diesel? Or what part of the car is the fuel flap, tank flap is? So this is for you. Please open up your ears. Go on to Facebook and then watch us go through the segment. Now you know. So you go to the gas station and because you're too embarrassed, because hey, what for some nice girl and you're too embarrassed to admit that it's not yours. So you just tell the the attendant, said, fail it. Oh boss, man, fail it then. Let's fail it. Before you know, he's putting diesel in your petrol-driven car. But let me help you. This is why Shikanik is here, and this is why you are listening to VROOM. I'll show you how to know if it's diesel or petrol. So please go onto our Facebook, and you will see the pictures and examples. Number one, check the fuel cap. The manufacturers have made it easy for us. Most times, they either put gasoline. Gasoline means petrol. So that's why sometimes you hear me say gas. It's petrol. Or if it's diesel, they would also put diesel. But in Ghana, when you bring your car and that sprayer is spraying every part of the car, including all the identification badges, you may not see it. If you are like the 100th owner, you will not see this. But worry not, there are so many other ways that you. So first of all, open. Be modest, get out of the car and just open it and check. Is it gasoline, petrol, or diesel? Now, the next one to check is check the badge. Check the badges. So just like how everybody has an identification. I have big, pretty eyes. That's my identification. I am not tall. I have a name. That's my ID. Every vehicle has an ID. So in some vehicles, you see TD4. TD4 is with the Range Rover, the Land Rover. T is turbocharged diesel, 4-cylinder, TD4. In Toyota, you see D4D. For Toyota, you see D4D. In the VWs, Audis, you see TDI. Again, turbocharged diesel injectors, TDI. But there's one thing, my ladies, please come around, let me tell you. When you see CDI on a Mercedes, it doesn't mean the car seat was designed by Christian Dior. Please, CDI means common rail. I see Obi laughing. It's not by Christian Dior. It's a common rail diesel injectors. So in another episode, I'm going to go through all these symbols and letters and break it down. But that is what the VROOM is for. It's to help you get confidence. So you see the D. Some cars, they've just written diesel. Some cars, they make it so simple for you and they write just diesel. So CDI, D4D, all these are examples of diesel. Okay, now the third one is the nozzle. The nozzle sizes. When you go to the gas station, there are always two, diesel or petrol. So now the diesel nozzle size is big. That's what a nozzle is. So like, I imagine an elephant's trunk, right? So that is big. And then the petrol, it is small. So it's easy to mistakenly put petrol into diesel, but it is difficult to put diesel into petrol. Okay, so always check and make sure. So this goes to the fuel attendants. If you find yourself forcing it, then you are doing it wrong. Now the fourth one, check your instruments cluster. There's a gauge called the RPM gauge or the tachometer. It's on the instrument cluster. It measures how fast the crank is moving per minute. So sometimes it goes 1,000 2,000, 3,000 per minute. That's your tachometer. Now for a diesel, because it doesn't need a lot of horsepower, it requires more torque, energy initially, so it doesn't need more speed. So for a diesel, you see that the red line where you'd see, I really should have put an arrow there for you to see it better. So you see a red line that starts from 4.5 to 6. That is a diesel. But if there's a petrol engine vehicles, it starts maybe 8, 9. The red line, it goes up to 9. So so sometimes you don't have to even get down from the car. Just sit in the car and then look at your tachometer and it will tell you. But if all of this that I've said fails, just pick up the phone and call the owner. Okay, that's it for now. We're going to go back to the studio. So Obi, now that you've listened to all of this, tell me, have you ever been to the gas station and wondered, hey, now what side is this petrol? What side is it? And is it petrol or diesel? Has that happened to you before?
Yeah. First of all, it starts with for me, it started with to know where the person's fuel thing is. Like,
fuel tank cover.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I get it.
Like, when you drive, if you're driving somebody's car, you usually do not know which part the fuel tank is.
Yes, I'll show you.
Yeah, so what I learned was that when you see the fuel tank, you see a certain arrow to the left or to the right.
Yes. And
yes,
some cars you don't have the arrow at all. Some cars you don't have.
Sorry.
Let's have the. Can you please show me a video, producer? Show me the video of the instrument cluster. Let me show. Some cars you don't have the arrow, but then
some cars don't have it.
They don't have the arrow. But what you see is okay. So this one doesn't have the arrow. I don't know if you can see, but then the direction that the nozzle. You can see the fuel machine, the fuel pump machine with the nozzle. So the direction of the nozzle. So in this case, it's pointing to the left. So the fuel tank cover is on the left. So that's for those that don't have the arrow. The newer cars, they are not generous like that. They want you to find it yourself. So yes, I'm hoping, I'm trusting a lot of people have learned it. So now on VROOM. This is why you have to be listening and watching VROOM, because we teach you the right thing. So have you learned anything, Obi, today?
Oh yeah, I've learned a lot, especially with the diesel indications. This is my first time seeing that, and that's why I was laughing, because I was like some of the other ladies. I felt like if you see CDI and all of that, it's like some branded.
No, it's not a designer.
Diesel.
Hey. Diesel.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah. Especially when you are driving, especially when you borrow somebody's car and you want people to feel like it is yours.
Oh yeah.
And so you get to the fuel station and you're all fidgety. You don't even know whether it's diesel or whether it's fuel or whether where they have to open it. And for me, I've been lucky to drive a Range Rover maybe once or twice, but usually the cars that I borrow from my friends are like the cars that I also drive. They have the same problem.
Right.
Me, if you borrow my car, you just don't borrow it. You borrow it and I'll give you a set of instructions. And so it's just like my friends too. Like when I borrow like Lexi's car, he will tell you, okay, this is the car key, but don't press on the accelerator too much, and when you are changing gear, and he will give you a lot of instructions. If you disobey, you'll be left on the road.
When your friend T's and C's apply.
Very well, like you have to follow it. I remember there was this time I was in the car with Lexi, and then as we were driving, the car was doing some shaky movements, his own car. And so I asked him, Kwame, is everything okay? He was like, oh, no problem. And then the car would go and then it would shake at a point, it just stopped. And this guy, I knew he had a problem, but he pretended like there was no problem. Now he went to, me and him got down from the car, went to open the car bonnet. When we opened it, I saw say Akwano or the abo when a battery terminal. And I said, well, one of the boys, break ni binti, netia kakra on that side, and he was pretending like he didn't know. I was like, bro, for boss na yonko, well, ni mo ka no problem. For no bo, I say, work with dia, for boy, any okay. So for people's cars there, I understand. Yeah, and for Ghana, what we lack in Ghana, like one of the things that shocked me is the ability to have a roadworthy certificate without your car going to be checked for roadworthy.
Yeah, that's another. I mean,
how does that even?
He saw that taxi on the road. I bet he's never been to the DVLA office.
No, but he has a roadworthy.
Yes,
Like his vehicle is deemed roadworthy.
Yes, absolutely.
And one thing I've also realized on Ghanaian roads, and this is not to go off topic, but you see, the roads are dangerous usually when the spare drivers are the ones driving.
Oh, on Sunday.
They call something spare.
Yeah.
And so the mate, like when the driver is asleep, is the time for the mate to operate from, let's say, 9 p.m. to maybe 4 a.m. And those are very dangerous times when these guys get on the roads. I experienced one, like my first accident on Ghanaian road was in the Xtra. I was seated beside the driver, and then I was asleep. Like I'd gone to do a show, and then I was coming back to Kaswa, and it was late. And this guy was a spare driver, and he decided to do an overtaking just when another vehicle was approaching us.
Oh wow!
I was tired. The time I opened my eyes was when the guy was faced. Charlie, this was between life and death. I was like, oh God, this is the time. I am ready.
I commit my spirit.
Yeah, I was like, I submit my soul. And you could, I don't know whether this is like a thing that God arranges for everybody, but when these things are about to happen, you see a flash of all your sins and all the good you may have done in your life. You see them like okay. And then the guy just went for the gutter by the side, a very deep gutter by the side, and we, Charlie. Even recounting this experience is a bit traumatizing. It was tough. I opened my eyes and everything was pitch dark. The mate is usually behind the front seat, and so the mate was lying on me. It was bad. Was bad.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's all because we put the driving of commercial vehicles into the hands of people who don't have the expertise to do that. And you think the vehicles are the problem. Even the motorbikes, sometimes you tell yourself, me, I'll never pick a motorbike. Until you're in that situation where you have to pick a motorbike.
I agree.
That is why these people all have to be like carefully regulated and their licenses checked, because there are some situations that you'll be in as a Ghanaian that you have no other way out than to take the motorbike. There was a time I had an interview at at TV Africa in the morning, and I was so late that day. It had rained, so immediately I lighted from the trotro at Kaneshi, just under one of the overheads. A motorbike approached me. I was Obakwa, and I was like, Yanko. I was like, oh, and so and so that was before they did the Kaneshi road. And so when you go past the footbridge, I think there are two footbridges. After the second one, there's a left traffic light that heads to TV Africa.
Right.
I saw the water. I saw the depth of the water, and I asked the guy, "Can we go?" I said, "We just say kuku." And this guy decided to wade through the water with the motorbike. I at that point, like halfway through the journey, I was like, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have accepted this guy's show off.
Your decisions, your life decision, like
And then the guy is going. I could see that. Oh God, this is going to get terrible. Now he decides to go on a certain pavement, forgetting that there's a gutter before the pavement. Because the water had covered all that area, the guy just rode me into me and him ended up into the gutter, like fully
Obi,
blown.
how much was he
flooded
charging you? I want to know how much was he charging you to go through all of
Charlie,
this?
he hadn't charged me yet too. So when you get there, then you guys will discuss charge. This guy just put me and all my white African print, me and everything in the, and I'm an Asante boy. I don't know how to swim. And it's not like a bad stereotype. Ashanti people, like, it's so kakra. The first time I went to the sea side, my father warned me never to like even put my hand in the water to touch or feel the water. So I was walking by the seashore, but I didn't get close to the water. And now I couldn't swim out. My goodness. Hey, I swallowed water. So, I'm telling you.
Obi, I can see you have thoroughly enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for your
Thank you for having me. Thank you for.
But before we sign off, I'd like to have Christabel. You know, there's this notion and narrative out there that women it's dangerous when women are on the road or behind the wheels. How has it been for you, your parallel parking and everything in between? I want you to speak on behalf of all young women who are daring and have dared to be on the road. What do you say about this narrative?
So I would say that it kind of all boils down to confidence, because I've seen that a lot of ladies sometimes they panic behind the wheel. You know, they want to do overtaking. Should I go? Should I not go? And I always tell people that you just have to have vim. Like, just make sure that you are mindful of what's going on around you. You check your mirrors. I always check, you know, my left, my right, you know, make sure that everything is good. If I want to overtake, I overtake, wherever it is. So I think that as ladies, let's build our confidence, you know, to make sure that we are good drivers. Because sometimes, you know, you will see something going on, like, I bet this is a woman. And truly true, when you like see the person driving, it's a lady. And you're like, oh, I wish, you know, you would just have the vim to drive. And I remember there was one time I was on is it like the Dr. Buzia highway, and then this lady wrote down the car, hey madam, why you deal? Like, oh madam, you've really done well to be driving, you know, on this road. Like, you know, you've done very well. I was thinking, but I don't understand, what's the big deal? Like, as long as you are allowed to be on the road, you are licensed, you are trained to be on the road, and then you know how to maneuver your car, you shouldn't have to worry. So ladies, be confident. And I feel like, the main thing is confidence, really.
I totally agree with you, Christabel. So the main thing is be confident, use your mirrors, just do the right thing. Because I think the main thing really is have vim, like what she said. It's just the vim, and know within yourself that you can do it. What I picked from Obi is be mindful who teaches you how to drive. Even when you are in a remote village, be mindful who teaches you how to drive, because that sandy park and the asphalt, two different worlds, totally two different worlds. Now, I'd like to find out, did you ever name your first Hyundai? Did it have a name?
Yeah.
Oh,
I named my first car after my grandma. I called it Chumwa. So it was Hyundai Elantra, but I called it Hyundai Chumwa.
Okay, so whoever has Chumwa right now, I'm sure it has gone to the 20th owner. So whoever has
this is my dad. This is my dad.
Right, it has become a family treasure. So, Daddy, please keep Chumwa well, because Chumwa comes with a whole lot of stories and experiences. Thank you so much, Obi. Thank you so much, Christabel. And this has been your host, Shikanik. Please still send in your stories. We would like to listen and read and talk about it. Let's keep the conversation going. This has been your host, and this is VROOM. Have a good evening.
Answer these questions correctly and your company wins the biggest discount on advertising for a whole year.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.